Scene script. Have you ever failed at something you truly desired? I know I have, and I'm not ashamed of it. Indeed, I recall a time when I was preparing for a marathon. I trained for months, pushing my body to its limits, running through rain, wind, and heat. I wanted to finish in under 3 hours, but when the day came, my body gave out 7 miles from the finish line. The disappointment was overwhelming. I had failed, and it stung deeply. But you see, the story doesn't end there. I took that failure, that crushing disappointment, and used it as fuel. I scrutinized every aspect of my training and race strategy. I realized I had pushed too hard, too fast, and my nutrition wasn't up to par. My failure wasn't a dead end. It was a signpost, pointing out where I had gone wrong and what I needed to do better. So I went back to the drawing board. I revised my training plan, paid more attention to my diet, and learned to pace myself better. I trained smarter, not harder. And when the next marathon rolled around, I didn't just reach the finish line. I crossed it in 2 hours and 55 minutes. A failure that had once felt like the end of the world had become the catalyst for a success that surpassed my wildest dreams. But here's the deal. None of that would have been possible if I hadn't failed first. If I had succeeded on my initial attempt, I would have been content, yes, but I wouldn't have pushed myself to improve, to evolve. I wouldn't have discovered the depths of my resilience, my determination, my capacity for growth. Failure, as much as it hurts, is an essential part of the journey. It's the grit that polishes the diamond, the fire that tempers the steel. It's the teacher that points out our weaknesses, nudges us out of our comfort zones, and propels us towards our true potential. That failure, as painful as it was, paved the way for a success I had never imagined. Believe it or not, some of the most successful people in the world have also experienced colossal failures. Let's take a look at a few of these inspiring figures. We'll begin our journey with Thomas Alva Edison, a name synonymous with invention. Despite holding 1,093 patents for his inventions, Edison's journey was far from smooth. It took him more than 1,000 attempts to invent the light bulb. When asked about his repeated failures, he famously said, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison viewed each failure not as a setback, but as a step closer to success. Next, let's turn the pages to J.K. Rowling's story. Rowling, the creator of the magical world of Harry Potter, was once a struggling single mother living on welfare. Her manuscript was rejected by 12 publishing houses before Bloomsbury finally decided to publish it. Today, she is one of the world's most successful and beloved authors. Rowling's story reminds us that rejection and failure are often the stepping stones towards success. And who can forget Steve Jobs? The co-founder of Apple was once ousted from his own company. Jobs described this period as the most devastating time of his life. However, during this time, he founded Next, a computer platform development company, and Pixar, the animation studio that would go on to produce groundbreaking movies. Eventually, Apple bought Next, and Jobs returned to his company, leading it to become one of the most valuable corporations in the world. Jobs once said, "I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me." These stories of famous failures are not just tales of resilience. They are testimony to the fact that failure is an inevitable part of the journey to success. Each one of these individuals faced rejection, disappointment, and setbacks. But they didn't let these failures deter them. Instead, they learned from their mistakes, picked themselves up, and continued on their path, more determined than ever. Remember, it's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up. Each failure brings you one step closer to success, teaching you invaluable lessons and making you stronger. In the words of Winston Churchill, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." So the next time you face failure, don't be disheartened. Instead, embrace it, learn from it, and let it propel you towards your goals. Their failures didn't define them, their resilience did. And the same can be true for you. Failure can feel like the end of the world, but it's not. It's just the beginning. A harsh reality, yet one that holds a profound truth. Failure, as disheartening as it may seem, is actually a stepping stone to success. It's not a pitfall, but a ladder that elevates us to greater heights. Let's take a moment to ponder on this. When we fail, we experience a sense of loss, a blow to our self-esteem. But in that moment of despair, we are also presented with a golden opportunity to learn, to grow, and to evolve. Failure teaches us resilience. It's a tough teacher, yes, but it equips us with the strength to bounce back stronger. It's like the phoenix that rises from the ashes, reborn and renewed. But resilience isn't the only jewel in the crown of failure. Failure also fosters creativity. When we fail, we are forced to think outside the box, to innovate and to find alternative solutions. It nudges us out of our comfort zones and pushes us to explore uncharted territories. It's like walking into a dark tunnel and finding a hidden treasure chest at the end. Moreover, failure provides us with valuable insights. It gives us a fresh perspective to look at things, to analyze what went wrong, and to plan our next steps accordingly. It's like peeling off the layers of an onion, each layer revealing a new lesson, a new understanding. It's a mirror that reflects our strengths and weaknesses, enabling us to work on them and improve. So the next time you encounter failure, don't perceive it as a setback. Instead, view it as a stepping stone that leads you to success. Embrace it, learn from it, and let it guide you. Remember, every failure is a lesson learned, every mistake a step closer to success. Failure isn't a dead end, it's a detour on the road to success. A detour that might be challenging, but one that is filled with opportunities for growth, learning, and self-discovery. So don't dread failure, celebrate it. For it's in our failures that we find our true potential and pave the way for our success. Failure is inevitable, but it's how we respond to it that truly matters. In our journey through life, we all face moments of failure. It's a universal experience, a common thread that weaves us together. But it's not the failure itself that defines our character or determines our future. Rather, it's how we react to that failure, how we embrace it, and how we use it as a tool for growth and learning. Embracing failure is not about celebrating defeat. It's about recognizing that every failed attempt is a stepping stone towards success. It's about understanding that failure is not the opposite of success, but a part of it. It's about shifting our mindset and viewing failure through a positive lens. So how can we embrace failure? The first step is to adopt a positive mindset. This is the foundation upon which all else is built. It's about seeing failure not as a dead end, but as a detour on the road to success. It's about understanding that failure is not a permanent state, but a temporary setback. It's about realizing that every failure brings with it a valuable lesson, an opportunity for growth, and a chance to do better next time. Next, we need to be resilient. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from failure, to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and keep going. It's about having the courage to face our failures, to learn from them, and to use them as stepping stones towards success. We also need to practice perseverance. Perseverance is about never giving up, no matter how many times we fail. It's about having the determination to keep trying, to keep pushing, and to keep believing in ourselves even when the odds are stacked against us. Finally, we need to cultivate a sense of self-belief. Self-belief is about trusting in our abilities, in our potential, and in our capacity to overcome failure. It's about believing that we are capable of achieving our goals no matter how many obstacles we face along the way. In the end, embracing failure is about transforming our mindset. It's about shifting our perspective and seeing failure not as a barrier, but as a bridge. It's about recognizing that every failure is an opportunity for growth, for learning, and for progress. So remember, when you fail, don't let it break you. Let it shape you. Let it teach you. Let it inspire you. Because in the grand scheme of things, failure is not a roadblock, but a stepping stone. It's not a symbol of defeat, but a sign of growth. It's not an end, but a beginning. Embrace failure not as a symbol of defeat, but as a sign of growth and learning. Transforming failure into success isn't about erasing the past. It's about learning from it. Imagine if we could turn the tables on failure and transform it into a force for good. This isn't a far-fetched idea. It's a reality that many of the world's most successful people have embraced. The first key strategy to turning failure into success is persistence. Like a river that slowly erodes the rock in its path, persistence can slowly but surely overcome any obstacle. Remember that persistence is not about banging your head against a brick wall, but rather about finding new and creative ways to overcome the challenges that stand in your way. Next, let's talk about the importance of learning from our mistakes. Each failure is a lesson in disguise, waiting to be unearthed. Instead of viewing a failure as a dead end, we should view it as an opportunity to learn something new. What went wrong? What can be done differently next time? These are the questions that can transform a failure into a learning opportunity. Alongside persistence and learning from mistakes, maintaining a positive attitude is crucial. It's easy to get disheartened and lose hope when things don't go our way. However, maintaining a positive attitude is not about ignoring our failures or pretending they don't exist. It's about acknowledging them, learning from them, and then moving forward with renewed determination. Finally, it's important to remember that failure is not final. It's simply a temporary roadblock on the path to success. Each failure brings us one step closer to our goal, provided we have the courage to learn from it and move forward. So the next time you encounter failure, don't let it get you down. Instead, embrace it. Learn from it. Use it as a stepping stone on your path to success. By doing so, you'll find that failure is not the end of the road, but rather a detour on your journey to success. Turn your failures into stepping stones and you'll find that success is just a few steps away. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of it. We've journeyed together through this exploration of failure, and we've seen that far from being something to avoid, failure can be a powerful ally on our path to success. Let's recap what we've learned. We've seen that many of the world's most famous achievers have stumbled on their way to greatness. They've faced rejection, disappointment, and defeat, but they refused to let these setbacks define them. Instead, they used their failures as stepping stones, opportunities to learn, grow, and refine their approach. We've discovered the silver lining of failure, the invaluable lessons that can be gleaned from our missteps. When we fail, we are presented with a unique chance to pause, reflect, and adjust our course. And it's within this process of trial and error that we can find our true direction and purpose. We've also delved into the art of embracing failure. This doesn't mean reveling in defeat, but rather acknowledging our failures, owning them, and using them as fuel for our future endeavors. It's about shifting our perspective, seeing failure not as a dead end, but as a detour on our journey to success. And finally, we've looked at how we can transform our failures into success. It's about resilience, persistence, and the unwavering belief in our abilities, even in the face of adversity. It's about understanding that failure is not a permanent state, but a temporary setback on our path to achievement. So what does all this tell us about the power of failure? It tells us that failure, as painful as it can be, is an essential part of life and growth. It's a teacher, a guide, and a catalyst for change. It forces us out of our comfort zones, challenges our assumptions, and pushes us to strive for greatness. It reminds us that success is not a straight line, but a winding path filled with ups and downs, twists and turns. And it's within these peaks and valleys that we discover our strength, resilience, and determination. So as we come to the end of this journey, I want to leave you with this thought. Don't fear failure, embrace it, learn from it. Use it as a stepping stone to reach your goals. Because in the grand scheme of things, it's not the failures that matter, but what we do after we fail. Remember, it's not failure that defines us, it's how we rise after falling. So embrace your failures, learn from them, and keep moving forward. Because the true power of failure lies not in the fall, but in the rise.